الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين يا أيها الناس اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم هل من خالق غير الله يرزقكم هل من خالق غير الله يرزقكم من السماء والأرض لا إله إلا هو وأنا تؤفكون. Yesterday, while explaining the meaning of Nema, I pointed out that everything which has been bestowed by Allah is declared to be Nema according to the Holy Quran. So, there is nothing but a collection of Nemas, a congregation of Nemas. Everything we look around, we breathe, we see, we feel is, according to the terminology of the Holy Quran, a favor from Allah, that is Nema. But the Holy Quran also presents this picture in a slightly different way, creating a new sense of pleasure thereby. The verse which I have chosen to illustrate this point is يا أيها الناس اذكروا نعمة الله عليكم هل من خالق غير الله يرزقكم من السماء والأرض. Not only that everything which has been bestowed upon us is a nema, that is a favor of Allah, but there is another point to it which we would have ordinarily missed altogether had it not been pointed out by the Holy Quran itself. The other aspect of the same issue is also a nema, and a very important nema for that matter. The meaning of the literal translation of this verse is, O ye men, remember the favor of Allah towards you. Is there any creator other than Allah who provides for you from the heaven and the earth? That the source of nema is just one. You don't have to beg so many for your sustenance or for favors. The very fact that God is one, that also is a nema. And this is the point, it's so beautiful. At least when I noticed this, I was wonderstruck that how the Holy Quran goes in such minute details to point out the beauties of the creation and doesn't leave anything alone. This fact you will nowhere come across in any religion, that the oneness of God is presented as a nema. And it is pointed out that who else is there who will give you anything? It is only me, and this is a nema. That you don't have to run after so many gods, imaginary gods, you should say, and try to seek favors of this and that. It must have been, if it were so, it would become a very troublesome and, life was not worth living. So this is also a very wonderful aspect which I thought I may point out to you. The other one which I have already discussed is وَمَا بِكُم مِّن نِعْمَةٍ فَمِنَ اللَّهِ. Everything which you possess is a favor of Allah. But the second part is ثُمَّ إِذَا مَسَّكُمُ الضُّرُّ فَإِلَيْهِ تُجَأْرُونَ. Here the verse doesn't say that when calamity befalls you or affliction befalls you, from Allah, it says, ثُمَّ إِذَا مَسَّكُمُ الضُّرُّ فَإِلَيْهِ تَجَرُونَ. And another twist is given to the same subject, and also a beautiful twist. That yes, it is of course all right, well understood that everything you possess is a nema from God. But because you keep on turning every nema into a calamity or affliction by misusing it, so it seems that from one hand, from the one side, there is a flow of favors of Allah. On the other side, they are twisted into disfavors or problems or afflictions and so on. So does the story end there? No. There is another nema to which the Holy Quran points out. ثُمَّ إِذَا مَسَّكُمُ الضُّرُّ فَإِلَيْهِ تَجَرُونَ. When you by your own folly turn Allah's favors into afflictions, then again you turn to Him to put it right again and turn them back into favors. So the battle is not altogether entirely lost, and still there is a redeeming feature that when you will do wrong to Allah's favors, Allah is always there, the gracious, the merciful, to correct that wrong and put the things into original perspectives. But sometimes there is a limit to everything, and once you have gone too far, then that is the end of it. Allah then takes the decision that all right, you have had it, enough is enough. After that there is no retreat. And this is one of the verses which I have chosen to illustrate this point. You have to be, of course, dependent on Allah's mercy, but also you have to be wary and cautious not to overextend it. Don't take it for granted, I should say. Otherwise, you may misstep into something from which you can never retrieve yourself. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً أَنْعَمَهَا عَلَى قَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. This and the verse which I recited yesterday, they make a couple on this subject. And the whole subject discussed should be in the light of these two verses, then you comprehend what happens. When you persistently turn Allah's favors into afflictions for yourself. It says, ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً. This is so, that is so, because Allah would never turn His favors into anything other than favors. Now this is, of course, something obvious. It should be so. Any noble man who gives somebody a gift or grants him with some favor, shows him some favors, would not take his favors back. And this is, a sign of abasement with somebody. That he shows the favors and then withdraws the favors. This is why the Holy Sallallahu has condemned in very strong terms the attitude of giving a gift and taking it back. And that of course is based on the strong injunctions of the Holy Quran on the subject in so many places. With regards to ladies as well whom you have married, it is said that once you have given them things, let them go away if you have divorced them. Well, take them away with them. Because you have given them and that's all, that's that. So the Holy Quran teaches you magnanimity. So how could it be possible for Allah not to show that magnanimity? It should be well understood and for granted that once Allah has shown His favors to anyone, He will not take it back. Yet we see that the favors are taken back.